Thank you guys for hopping on. Today's sole focus is based behind success around the open that you've done in the past, potentially some sort of pitfalls, and hopefully we give enough value to people watching this and in our discussion that we can talk about best practices, maybe something you didn't hear. First things first, we're going to go over with a few owners, maybe not everyone on the call, but exactly how you run the open and completely leave it non-emotional. This is my standard operating procedures. And so I'm going to go first. What I do is I do not have people go on Thursday at all. I send group messages out and we get hype about the workout Thursday. We talk about it in our chat, but everyone does the open workout on Friday. We start at 6 a.m. and we go all the way till about 8 p.m. So what Friday is I have structured times like my normal classes, but what I try to do is partner people up who are in the open. So the goal is it's kind of been I don't know, it's kind of like just natural at this point. If, Bill is my partner, like if Bill's my buddy, I typically just try to align myself with going to the gym whenever Bill's going to go. He knows that I will go and he will judge me. And then he knows that he will go and I will judge him. And typically that is how I run the open. And I have run 100 people through on simply a Friday. Then the next question is redos. Redos are completely on them, but they have to have a judge there, and one of my coaches or myself has to be there. So they have to contact us outside of Friday. We have a redo option on Monday. Monday, we program a workout, but if you want to redo, you are responsible for having your own judge, making sure you're not interrupting the other people that are going on in the class. And also, I never let trials come in to a Monday during the open because it is kind of a cluster F. That's exactly how I run the open. I'd love to hear more. Let's go, Danielle. I think you are going to be the next couple minutes.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
We do a really similar thing. We don't do them on Thursday at all. Friday, it's the class WOD. Everybody partners up. One person judges the other. We flip-flop. Usually they work out pretty well that way. The evening classes we cancel. And we have like our Friday night lights. Everybody opts in, almost everybody always opts in. Usually we charge around $30 or so. They get a t-shirt, they get put on a team. We take the extra money left over from the t-shirts to use to provide food every week. So it ends up being like a Friday night party. We dress up and have themes. There's prizes awarded for that. And then we make it almost like an intramural. So scores count on the workouts. We give options during the week to bring in items for different charities. That counts towards, points for their team. How they do on the workout, whether or not they dress up, who has the most spirit, who's the best cheerleader, all that kind of stuff, just to get people excited about it. So we usually end up having a really good time. We run heats on Friday nights, starting at like 4:30, usually last, depending on the workout, till about 8:30 or 9 o'clock. People hang out for a little bit and have a good time. So it usually ends up being like when we ask people what their best memory of the year was, a lot of people always say the open, just because the camaraderie and the team feel that you get with it. We literally loaded up the entire back of my Suburban. I couldn't see out any of the windows with all of the donations that we had from last year. So to be able to take that and, put it towards good at the same time gets people pretty hyped up. And then we kind of do redos the same. It's on them if they want to redo it. And then they have to schedule a time when, classes aren't necessarily going on. They find their own coach, that sort of thing.
Did you say that you charge $30 for a shirt? This is on top of them paying for the open through CrossFit.
Correct. They
How
get a
do
shirt
how do you
and
validate
then
that then? Because I'm going to hear a lot of people watching this or even thought right now, that's way too expensive. Do you just not care? And I'm sorry, I know you care, but do you
yeah.
just not let that validate in your head?
No, if they want to be on the team, I would say I had probably, I don't know, 90-ish, 85, 90% participation last year. Of people wanting to be in the intramural. I mean, adults will do a lot of things for stickers and t-shirts, I feel like.
Oh,
And
well,
so
children.
I mean, really, they're just getting another gym t-shirt. Instead of paying $25 for it, they're paying 30. Part of it goes to charity, part of it goes to feeding them, crumble cookies and Chick-fil-A. So, but no, I haven't really had any pushback on that at all. That's just how we've done it. We've only been here 2 years as owners, so that's how we've done it the last 2 years, and it's gone great.
And also, I want people to understand, because Danielle, that was fantastic. People will also pay $150 to just put a bib on themselves and go run outside. Just never forget that with a bunch of other people. Craig, you're next, man.
Yeah, so just like you guys, Friday class workout, Friday night lights, and we do an intramural. So they have to sign up we have to register on the game site. And then we draft teams. We go teams of our captains, 4 or 5 captains, have fun with the draft with them. And then, we've got a bunch of different ways for them to like earn points each week. They do the weekly theme. This week we're doing a biker theme, whether it's like a Harley bike, that's our kind of our logo this year, or if they want to dress up as like a cyclist, they could do that. And then week 2 is a tie-dye. Week 3 is going to be St. Patrick's Day themed. And different ways they can earn points. They begin the top 3 of their workout per division. If they do a social media post, they have to use our hashtag that we're using from the open. They have to post a picture. They have to use our hashtag. They get a point. There's a spirit of the open point. If they do a Facebook or Google review, they get points for their team. If they do the judges course, we had a ton of people do the judges course last year, which is super, obviously beneficial in its own way for them gaining some more knowledge. I've got an awesome Excel sheet that I've been using for the last 5 years. If anybody wants it, it's for keeping track of points. I'm happy to share it.
So the intramural open, for what I'm hearing, I'm actually doing it this year. I'm not running it whatsoever, but my coach came to me and wanted to do it. It sounds like she's doing it exactly how you are, Craig, with the getting points. So does this hype up those teams?
100%.
Okay.
It's so much fun.
You just said it, and then they just love it.
Love it. It's the best time of the year for sure. And now it's only 3 weeks, and we used to do it when it was 5 weeks, and it was fucking torture.
Yeah. First F-bomb on the recorded. No, this is actually no, dude. This is CrossFit. We're okay. Yeah, I'm very nervous about this intramural thing, but I'm very excited. So thanks for
it's a blast. Yeah.
And the Google review thing, I mean, that's low-hanging fruit for you. You guys know how Google operates or Facebook reviews. That's a huge low-hanging fruit if possible.
Yeah, we've got over 100 reviews on our Google.
That's awesome.
Yeah, over 50 compared to anybody else around the area. So it's definitely helpful.
Craig, hop in the chat, and a lot of people are asking for that Excel sheet. And you guys who show up, that's why you show up. Keith Knapp, ladies and gentlemen, is here. So sorry, Keith, this is a recorded one, so I don't want you to just get on here and start taking things over. Derek, you're next, man.
Yeah, so we do very similar things to Danielle and Craig. We run a big intramural event. We break into teams. We operate with a draft, but our draft is a little bit different.
I'm sorry, Derek. I don't want to throw you off. What is this draft thing? Like, explain to me how you draft.
Yeah, so basically, we have everyone sign up in advance, and then we run a draft night event. Ours this year will be like the first Thursday in February. But what we're going to do, or what we do, is we get everyone drafted onto about 5 teams, depending on the overall number. But our gym is a little bit older demographic. We don't have a ton of crazy competitive people. And so our intramural open, we try to make it as participation based as possible. So like these guys, we have a ton of stuff beyond performance. We've had people do haikus on their team. We've had them do like post workout, finish the open workout, and then you do a Sudoku puzzle for time, right? And that's it for points. And so we give our members an idea of what skill sets might be needed for our intramural open beyond performance. And then they have like a 2-week window to start going around the gym, the captains of the teams, and trying to recruit. Like they might need a baker. They need someone who's good with puzzles. They need a performance person, whatever, right? Because of these goofy tasks that we're going to have them do beyond just the workouts. We do a Thursday night throwdown. One person from each team will hit that workout the day it drops, and we get a pretty good turnout for that. We don't run it on Fridays because we do all of this inclusive stuff. We run our workout on Saturdays instead because that's how we get the biggest turnout. It's like
a party day.
Yeah, and we want all the chaos. We want all the energy. We want all the
All
chaos.
the
We've
kids.
got it. It gives me
But
an extra day to
yeah.
stage it, right? So we can tape anything off that we need and all of that and have it done. So we do a Saturday one. If we've got any crazy competitive people, we let them get their first workout in ahead of time, you know, on Friday or whenever they want to do it. But other than that, a lot of the same things that Craig and Danielle hit, we just have a couple tweaks to it.
Cool. Anyone, before I start to dive, because this is going really well, does anyone want to add anything that they didn't really hear that they do that would be beneficial? Ashley, go ahead.
This is a question.
Sir.
Does anybody allow participation in this stuff if they don't pay their $20 and sign up for CrossFit, like big CrossFit Open?
Okay, yeah. So I'm trying to think if I've ever not validated that they were in there. I've never ran the intramural open. So that's something that I'm going to be interested to see if my coach ends up going that route. She's in full control of it. Because yeah, you're a CrossFit affiliate. I think where I would always push people to sign up, only reason being is I've done it now since 2012. So I can see my graph of fitness of when I qualified for regionals twice, when my back squat was this PR, and then I'll look back like I'm 35 I'm basically insane with this 3-year-old, 1-year-old, and a 0-year-old on the way, where I'm gonna remember like this year in the open was I had 3 kids, and in my head I thought I'd be competitive going into my first year of masters. I don't know. For me, it's worth, that signing up every year so I can see that data. That's just how I kind of tell people. And it's not like a sell. I just kind of always like, well, if I drop from 99th percentile to 67th, I should probably go to the dentist and the doctor because something's wrong with me. That's kind of
So
my
I just have one comment. I'm a new affiliate owner. First time for the Open roll around as an affiliate owner. I've never done the Open. I've never signed up for it. I've never gone to the Open. So I mean, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do an intramural thing, and we're just gonna use all these ideas. But my feedback for CrossFit is it's hard for me to get on board if CrossFit isn't using the Open as an opportunity to channel people to the gym and get them connected to the gym. So I would be much more apt as an affiliate owner to get people signed up if people had to sign up for the Open through my gym.
I get
But
what
since
you're
they
saying.
don't, I have a hard time getting excited about it. But we're going to
Yeah.
do the thing. And if people sign up, great. If they don't sign up, that's cool too.
No, that's great feedback. And I think going forward with it, like being more inclusive, but not like being more controlling is kind of that challenging balance of like, no, you have to do it through the gym. It's like, well, we can't actually tell you what to do, but I get where you're coming from because it drives more traffic. It's just easier to have one thing wrapped together. Totally understand. Good luck, dude. I am excited for you. It's you're gonna think you did it. You're gonna I don't even know how to describe it. The first Open I ran, I remember thinking like, what the hell just happened? All right, so if anyone wants to add any positive thing they forgot, feel free to hop in. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I got something for you.
Yeah.
So I stole Two Brains, a lot of stuff from Two Brain, whatever it's Two Brain Business, whatever it's called. He's got a free thing you can sign up for and they send you. So I stole a lot of stuff from when we first started getting it going. So that's helpful for some.
Yeah, if that's still
And
out.
yeah, I think it is. And then actually something that I did today, I was given, if people sign up, register for the Open before the 1st of February, they get 15% off their Open shirt that we make.
Because that makes it easier for you to get them on their intramural team and everything earlier. Emily, go ahead.
So we run it very similar to a lot of these ideas. I'll say a couple of things that we do in addition to that is we kind of go back. We do themes as well, and we don't give a point for each person, but we vote on a team. So whichever team had the best overall theme, then they get a place based on that. But we do video announcements going back to like the Castro days. So we make them really funny.
Awesome.
And we're kind of like mimicking Castro, and people freaking love those are the videos. We also give participation points, but we only scores we count are the top 2 scores on the team. And for us, that has helped us increase the amount of people participating in this intramural because a lot of people don't want to feel like they're going to bring their team down. And a lot of times then people will rally around those two people who are going during our Friday night lights. And it just becomes that much more exciting because your team is just like really cheering on these two people who are going to count. The one thing I will say though, just in kind of from a business perspective, and I know this is not what CrossFit wants to hear, so I'm just giving my feedback, is that we do not require people to sign up for the open. We had 160 people last year do our open, our intramural open, and I bet maybe 20 people actually signed up on the site. And I do that from a business perspective because I want people to pay for my t-shirt versus giving it to CrossFit, right? Because I think it is harder to convince people to pay $50 from a business perspective. So I feel like as an affiliate owner, if you want me to convince 150 people to do it, I need more incentives to do that.
Yep,
So that's just my
understand.
general feedback.
Yeah, understand. And it's like, I know everything has been talked about in regards. I've heard a lot of things talked about before. This is going to be recorded, so I don't want to like, hearsay or whatever. I agree with you. I think I think all the affiliate owners on here agree with you that that's something that is, you obviously run it very well. If you get 160 people to buy in and you're using it as it's fun, it's amazing, it's a great competition. It does require money. So that's like a thought of, it requires money to run, but there isn't necessarily anything going on in your business other than you putting hype around it or whatever. So totally clear as kind. I don't think that was rude at all. One thing I forgot before I move on, I can't believe I didn't say this. I have a group of people inside who run their own intra competition in the open, and I've never touched it. It's called Average Joe's. And if you work out more than an hour a day, if you're a coach, if you've ever done a local competition, if you don't work more than 40 hours, if you work less than 20 hours a week, like all these things disqualify you. And this is totally community driven. And they have world weightlift, like WWF belts. They have a bunch of, so like if Ashley's going and he's older than me, he gets like a handicap. The guy who runs it is an engineered type mind, and they absolutely love it. I'm not allowed to be in it because I have competed before or whatever, and they will throw my coaches out if they see them doing like an extra like 30-minute row or something. Like you have to be average. Completely on them, have never touched it, and people love it. It's called the Average Joe's. All right. Things that have torn apart the open. I've seen gyms literally almost close because they put so much pressure. I see people already laughing. They put so much pressure on the competitive side of the open that it literally ruins people. And they have moms who have 3 kids who all they do is stay at home and everything. They have them taking anxiety meds because of how scared they are to do the freaking open each year. That is not a good way to push this thing. My suggestion for you is, if you think you're competitive, be hardest on them first. Understand, are you competitive, or are you a guy showing up to a church league basketball game with the newest LeBron shoes on and doing a warm-up prior, and hey, this is simply just a church league basketball game. Yes, we have a referee here. He's volunteer, aka your judge. It matters a little more, but if you're not in that, like, let's just kind of all have fun with this together. That being said, I do have a semifinals athlete. She missed the games by 1 spot this year at semifinals. She's 20, just turned 21. Even she has to do the workout with everyone watching as a normal person, because from a competitive side of someone who actually was competitive in their life, that is the mental hoop she needs to jump through. So I don't know. I know that Zach has some competitive athletes. I'm sure a few who, by competitive I mean games. But please, and I want you guys to weigh in on this, do not allow the competitive side to absolutely ruin your open culture. And Ashley, I know this is your first time and you go, that's never going to happen to me. Watch, man. It just out of nowhere, when you put like lights to it and there's a theme to it, it's like something inside of your body. I was at my 6 a.m. class this morning, and this new guy, he's so consistent. He's like, dude, this will be my first open. And I'm like, all of these workouts, Taylor, that's his name, are going to be easier on paper than what we do every day. I'm telling you that right now. What was the deadlifts and burpees over the bar one? You guys remember that from was it last year? 2 years ago? Somebody say the workout.
2 years ago, it was 10. It was 1 to 10.
1 to 10. Deadlifts and burpees over the bar, right? Seems like the easiest thing on planet Earth.
Worst workout ever.
I mean, woo, you want to talk about Glassman's old school stuff where he used to say, the hardest thing a human can do in sports would be all out 800-meter run because it crosses over into so many pathways. And if you've ever been a track athlete, like that's the way the open feels every single time for some reason. So please share if you agree with me or completely disagree. Has this happened to you? Go
Do
ahead.
you know, I put it in the chat, but I didn't know if you'd see it. Do you know if CrossFit's going to give like the, RX scaled and then like the beginner version again? Because that was super helpful for me with people last year that were like, I'm just starting, I'm too old, I don't care about competitive, just to be able, like, I can't do the movements, just to know that they have an option that where they can fit in.
Yeah, sorry, you froze for a second. Go ahead. I think you said, are they going to give the
option for like the beginner version again, like they did last year?
Oh yeah. I mean, I
Okay.
don't think we're
So
changing.
that'll stay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
the what I know that I struggled with a little bit was was it the beginner? And then there was like what was it? What did they put it on paper before? There was the scaled, the RX,
Foundations.
and then the foundations. Yeah.
We call it fundamentals.
yeah.
We changed
Yeah.
it to fundamentals.
So-
and we're like, yeah, people that are here to have fun.
And so it's hard
Which
because
we always gave people those options, but they felt better when it was on their paper that way. Like
Yeah.
they felt like they weren't cheating, because everybody wants to RX in some way. They felt like they weren't cheating to have their own division, basically.
yeah. How do you guys feel about foundations and scaled? Because I was a part of the open when that wasn't even a thought process.
It's huge. It's helped our participation for the people that are on the fence that know, like, hey, this isn't for me. It says all inclusive, but it's not. And communication is so huge. We always tell people, like, if you get stuck, modify, keep going. We don't want you to like stare at the rings for 8 minutes because you can't do a muscle up, right? Do a workout. Your official score might be done or whatever at that point, but get a good workout, challenge yourself in the open. Along with communication, the flip side too, we're super clear to let people know it's all inclusive. We want all of you to do this. It's going to be fun to do something that like all these people around the world are going to do. But at the end of the day, it's the first step of finding out who the fittest people on the planet are. So there will be separation tasks that some people can't do. And if you communicate that up front and you're clear and say, but we have a plan, it goes much better because we didn't do that early on, right? And kind of in this competitive stuff and the garbage that comes with it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I liked it better. This is just personally when we had no options, or when Castro would be like, yeah, you start with double unders. If you don't have one, you're going to try for 10 minutes. But it was a different time back then, right? Like it was just a different time. And you're absolutely right, Derek. That was so well said.
And you might have some members that are willing, they want to get that double under. They're going to spend 10 minutes doing it, and you encourage the crap out of them, right? Have fun and cheer and yell, and when they get it, it's awesome. But you might have someone that knows, I'm not getting this. I just don't have the capacity. And so for them, it's almost a shame trigger potentially, right? Like,
yes,
I can't do this. I shouldn't be here, whatever.
We all have different physical and psychological tolerances. We talk about that in L1. And like, I remember a girl working for 14, 15 minutes and she got one wall walk. I celebrated it like you wouldn't believe. I'm not going to sit here and act like she got the best workout ever, but did she? Like that's kind of the theoretical piece of CrossFit, which is so cool. Like, no, she did a lot of skill acquisition. She just recently did 24 wall walks in a workout like last week. So obviously the improvement from them, she can validate and remember how hard she worked for that. But also I will reward someone who chooses to go scaled on all the workouts, right? You did the smartest thing. You met yourself where you're at. And sometimes scale doesn't necessarily mean easier when it comes to you're going to end up burning way harder. Yeah. So another pitfall. If somebody else wants to add pitfalls to the competitive side, the next one I have is, man, this is a good one, guys. This is the no rep like stuff. That's a toughie. That's a real toughie, is like the judgment. And hey, I saw Sarah and she did not go hip below knee. If you don't go yell at Sarah right now and tell her that those reps did not count, I am going to tweet about it and get on Instagram Live and trash this gym. I have a big brief personally before, and I actually will tell everyone, the fitter you are, the harder you're going to be watched. Just to let you know, there is no one watched harder than the semifinal athlete inside of our gym. 3 different cameras, a professional judge who judges at the CrossFit Games, not me, because I can't count double unders that great. I mean, I'm too nervous, or the crossover things, like all of this stuff, everything shown 17 different times and ways, and that's essentially the standard. So the way that I've fought that is, if you are one of the fittest in your gym, or you're a coach, or from a leadership perspective, you hit the ranges of motion like crazy. You don't try to take shortcuts, and more than likely that's how everyone's going to follow. That being said, what do you guys do if you see one of your members judging and you don't like a rep? Now, this person's going to be in 44,000th place in their age division. Okay, so we're probably not going to cost the leaderboard anything on this one wall ball or this one thing. What I tend to do is I float while it's going on, or I have my wife float or someone else. And if we see something sketchy going on in a heat of 10 or 12, we immediately go to that person and we'll either take over judging, or we will do the whole Bosman and be like, on this next one, make sure that they get there. Am I crazy? Have you seen that? Do you do anything different?
I just start drinking really early on those days.
And then everything looks great. You're like, wow.
But
I got a comment, Andrew, just a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
So if somebody's registered for the open, we have a serious judge watch them. So we enforce the reps really tightly. But on the other side of that, we only have a handful of people that actually register. In the old days, we used to have a bunch. I mean, dozens and dozens. Last year, I think maybe 2. And we kind of downplay it. We like to have people have a little fun with it. And that way, I always have, like, if let's say it's a week where there's crazy taping of the stations.
Yeah.
I'll have one set up for the men's standard and one set up for the women's standard. On the other stations, they might not be exact, but people will do pretty much what's involved. But because they're not registered, it's not really that critical. And our people just enjoy it way more now because we're not so serious about it. We do like you do. Well, we don't do it on Thursday, but we don't do it on Friday. I do it on Saturdays. And we make our classes 90 minutes so people can judge and then go in combo, in pairs. And then I always watch on Thursdays to see what the likelihood is of people getting a good workout. You know, a lot of these are done, like you said, starting with double unders in the old days. So I'll often have a second workout. So person A goes, judges for person B, they flip, then we clean up, and then there's a second workout to make sure that they get a good dose. Because some days, even if they're scaling it and it's 8 minutes long, it's just not enough, especially for a Saturday. Our people expect the worst workouts of the week on Saturdays. It's like my free pass to just make it really nasty. And what I don't want is for members to be not maybe talking, but leaving going, shit, these 3 weeks in the open, these workouts just aren't good enough for me. So
yeah,
it's not have a second workout plan if you have the time. It works very well. And I just write that. And the other reason I like doing on Saturdays is because it doesn't mess up my programming at all. I decide on my Saturday workout. I don't have to decide a Saturday workout. I pick the open, and they do that for me on Thursdays. And then our redo is Monday for anybody.
Yeah, that's the worst when you over program. You're like, you just did Toastivar, and then it's
yeah. Or you lay off. You're like, well, we don't know what's coming, so we'll kind of have a couple of skill days, and then your other members who aren't in the open, you're like, what's going on? Why are we adjusting our regular programming for something that we really don't give a shit about?
I think.
Yeah.
Andrew, do you mind? I think that, in my opinion, we are confusing what the open is with what class workout structure is. The open is an opportunity, I think, for people to display the fitness that they've been working for the past year. And if coaches have not been holding movement standards accountable 364 days out of the year, then yes, the day of the open becomes a challenge to hold somebody accountable to a movement standard. And I think we rob anybody who's gotten their first muscle up knows that feeling. The
Yes.
frustration of doing it 75 times and failing. And I believe it's perfectly okay in a 12-minute competitive style workout for someone to look at that pull-up bar for 11 minutes and 59 seconds and do it and watch everybody freaking explode, because it's not a workout. It is simply a test of fitness. And workouts are an hour: warm up, cool down, strength, accessory, the Metcon. That is what happens the other 6 days of the week. It's one day, it's 3 days to focus on testing ourselves to be where we are fitness wise. And I think if we lose sight of that, we lose the special events that happen during open season. Yes, they're not competing for a game spot. They're not trying to be crowned the fittest on earth, but dang it, they've been working on double unders every day after class for the year. They've been working on it. And man, how awesome is it to see that happen in real time during a workout?
Yo, Brock, you just fired me up for the open. I'm not even going to lie to you. I could not agree more with what you just said.
I'm pumped, man. We're doing superhero Saturdays. We're going to carve it out. We've got the 4 coaches doing teams. Coaches are going to have what we call dynamic duos, which are people who are going to judge each other. And yes,
Brock, can I lean into you on one of your statements and ask you a question about it? Do you then take this to your coaches' meetings throughout the years? Do you take this to your coaches' meetings to be like, guys, I know it's July, but like the open is coming, 8 months, 6 months from now, and I want the members to have that magical experience of hitting the RX. So when we do wall walks, make sure that their feet don't move prior to their hands. Or like, is that like a talking point in your
100%?
Okay.
100%. Our goal as coaches is to meet a member where they're at. This is what I tell our coaches. Our goal is to meet a member where they're at and help them progress 1% more each and every day. And that's every member who walks through the front door. So if they're working on double unders and they've seen a coach, let's say we have 7 coaches, and they've seen 6 of them, maybe 6 people have given 6 different skills or different ways to work on them. But over the course of the year, the progression of skill happens. But it's how I measure classes. So when I do an audit of a class and a coaching, I make sure, are they touching every member? Are they working on skills? Did they acknowledge the depth on the squat? Did they make sure hey, that push jerk, you didn't lock out before you brought the barbell back? Like those are points that are happening consistently throughout the year. Because at the end of the day, I think we keep score for a reason. We want to see how we stack up. There is a element to the scoring workouts that's important. But at the same time, Sam, who is a 65-year-old retiree, I know where his goals are. I know where he's trying to get. Sam's trying to get better. He's just at a different point on his journey than Bill, who's 24 years old and comes in every day looking to be number 1 on the leaderboard. They're in different points on the journey, but both of them are on the same journey of improvement and getting better. And our role as coaches is to help that journey move forward.
Hey, Andrew.
Yes.
Sorry, I was gonna say to Brock's point, one of the things that we have had we run ours probably most like Derek. But to Brock's point, one of the things that we're doing already for January and February is our Friday Metcons are very similar open workouts with a focus like, hey, we are practicing, preparing for the open. So from movement standards to
movement standards and intensity.
Yeah, and that's the one I encourage them, hey, this should feel the most like an open workout. So like last week we had wall walks, actually tape the 10-inch line. It's like, this is what a good rep is going to be in the
That's
open.
the extra effort, Allison.
Let's
That's
practice to
it.
that. So there's no surprises. And I'll even say, hey, that is a good rep. Hey, when you touch that line, that's what we're looking for. And so they're expecting us to kind of lean in a little bit more. Not that we don't always hold the standard, but like that won't count. This has to be, we did burpee pull-ups last week because we saw them last year, burpee pull-ups. We haven't practiced them in a while. They're a little different, so we've started that this year. January, February, well, Friday Metcons will be that way. Leading up to, then you'll expect Friday Night Lights. I did want to say a couple of things we did last year, just from an owner perspective, that really made a difference for me, because the open's exhausting. It's fun, but for owners, it was really exhausting to try to carry all the hype and all the prep and all the, so just a couple things different. We do intramurals, but we have 3 teams, and I give each of the coaches, there's 2 to 3 coach captains for each team. So they kind of run with Friday Night Lights. They pick 1 to 2 member captains to be on their team. And so it was really cool last year, because it's kind of the leader of that class time frame. And then they get to pick the theme. They get to do all the things for the hype of Friday nights. We draft teams. The coaches get to pick, or the coaches and member captains get to pick 10 people draft. And then I actually assign every other member. If you're an active member at our gym, you will be put on a team. And then they're responsible for recruiting and hyping and encouraging and reaching out to them and say, hey, have you signed up yet? You're going to want to do this. And that's been really cool. A lot of people that wouldn't have normally signed up, because they're on a team now, regardless of if they wanted to be or not, they can contribute that way. To the judging thing, I hand select judges other than coaches that I know will hold a standard, or that have a lot of experience competing, judging, and they're the only ones that can judge on Friday nights for Friday Night Lights. And then when we talked about points and the competitive aspect, we actually give points in different divisions. So not just RX, but we give a 55 plus, the winner, male, female, and 55 plus division. And if it's your first open, you're in a division. And if you win male, female in that, then you also, so it's not just the top tier RX competitors that can get points. There's other divisions for our teams. So just a couple thoughts.
Yeah, the funniest thing you said, Allison, and same thing with Craig. Guess who loves the open when it's 5 weeks? All of your members, because they're just coming to this amazing party and everything's just red carpet laid out for them, and you're providing this amazing experience, and you are exhausted. I know, and it's different for everyone, right? Like, that's why I'm glad, Bill shared his. If you don't have a lot of people that sign up, I mean, I had 137, I think, not this year, but last year. It's a shit show. They're having the most fun time of their life. I'm not, because sometimes leaders not only eat last, but you don't even eat, and then all of a sudden you just do the open workout, and hopefully you're off of caffeine and just a little bit of salt on the tongue, and you crush it, and then you can barely hear, and somebody's like, hey, I brought my cousin to show. I'm like, oh, I thought you weren't supposed to bring people to Friday Night Lights because it's a cluster. And then they end up joining, because it's like, wow, this was so cool to see. But
I will say last year was the easiest on me, and the most
even the
enjoyable.
shuttle sprints.
No, I don't mean the workouts. But well, yeah.
No, I meant you as the owner.
Well, those were,
I did
we
not
figured
hear that.
out.
They hated the shuttle sprints. Affiliates who I talked to were upset about it.
I was worried about it, but we figured it out. But that's the kind of stuff I could think about and plan for, and the coaches and the member captains taking the leadership for the other stuff was really freeing, because I could just focus on how are we gonna pull this off. And they ran with getting people signed up, getting them on board. In fact, the coach captains were responsible for briefing their teams and having them be prepared to show up with the scale that they were using, the strategy.
Wow.
Like they took ownership of their team, and in their group messages, hey, here's how you want to strategize this. Here's where you're going to want to breathe. Here's how you're going to scale this. So they knew coming in, they'd already talked with their coach and member captain, especially if they were newer, like, hey, what am I doing for this? And how do I scale that? What is a jumping, whatever. So that was really freeing for me. One more thing I forgot to say, we did last year, a coach is doing videos of a few different people. Why am I signing up for the open? So some veterans that have been doing it for years, a postpartum mom, a teen who's the first, they turned 14 this year. So it's their very first time to actually get to be on the leaderboard. And she's compiling a video for our members so that the folks that are like, oh, I don't know if I should do this, or why would I want to do this? They're giving their quick little testimonies. That was super effective last year. And we're doing that again this year.
That's amazing. On media side, the best time I ever paid for paid media was for the open. I didn't necessarily say what it was, but the amount of people in there and like people clapping for people and just all that stuff, that was when I paid for the camera people to come in. Real quick, Emily, to answer your question, I'm going to triple check on this, but technically anyone advancing I know to semifinals, you cannot, it will not count if it's not a judge who's taken the judge's course. I believe that with quarterfinals, you're still okay as long as somebody's judging you who signed up for the open. But because that's what you're saying, those who wish to advance to the next level, because there are quarterfinals this year. But that's on you if you want to do that as an athlete. But yeah, definitely semifinals, which you'd probably know if you have a semifinal athlete.
I do have a question, and this might
Yes.
rock the boat a little bit. I'm very stingy on redos. I will discourage redos. There are very few people that I will let redo a workout, and I talk to them about it. Why do you want to redo this? Where do you think you're going to improve? Do you think this is going to level you up? Or do you need to jump back into programming and not miss, training this week? So I heard a couple of people say they allow like all day Mondays or whatever. That is a nightmare to me. And I think it's counterproductive for my people because we don't have a ton of like high level competitors and they get too mentally wrapped up in. So I just kind of wondered your thoughts on you guys that do a lot of redos or allow, like, what's that conversation
Oh
look like?
no, there's a
Also-
lack of passion on Monday for me of if you're redoing it. Mainly, I have so many people to get through it. You might have been out of town for work or something on that. So that's why I have to leave Monday open, because when you have 130 people to get through, you're cooking with a lot of gasoline there. So it's like socially acceptable. But if you're gonna redo this 3 different times for your own personal like ego, you're like, ah man, I know I could have got 4 or 5 seconds faster. I understand, but as long as you know it's stupid, right? Like as long as you can admit to me that, hey, that's probably stupid. I'm stupid. Like I am like that. So I would be like, yeah, I want to redo it because I'm so annoyed that if I don't try this different technique, that for the next 20 years of my life, I'll have to see a therapist. Yeah. Okay, fine. Just don't, I gave you my good energy. Go for it. Make sure you have a judge. I'm gonna be watching. But yeah, I would discourage it too, for most people. Morgan, go ahead, Morgan. Hope you're on mute. Doesn't look like you're on mute. We just can't hear you. You can type it out, and I could probably say it too.
I'll throw something in on that Monday redo. I used to be the same mindset where like I hated when people redid it. And then I got thinking, I was like, it's 3 workouts throughout the year. Like if they want to go ham and like try to improve and beat their buddy, like go for it. I'll throw one other thing. I had one thing I think fun that we're gonna do this year is we're gonna do a little headshot, like a little polaroid headshot for everybody that signs up. And then we've got a big whiteboard, open whiteboard, so that everyone's headshot's going to go on there, because there's a lot of people that throughout the day that don't know each other throughout the classes. So,
dude, and then you could even like draw out one of those photos for like a prize. That'd be sick.
We had a really big problem probably 3 or 4 years ago with redos where like it was so bad that like people were burnt out, and we the next year had like really low participation because of that. So we, in our point system, you get negative a point if you do worse on the redo. So it really stopped a lot of the people that were
Epic.
like, you get a plus if you do better, but that leaves it up for the people that know they can do better, the people that care that much, and the people that are on the fence that just see these people doing it and feel like they have to. They're like, I don't really want to risk the point that I already got to do it. So
Laura, I
that's how we
love
did
that. You get a negative point if you do worse
Or tie, or tie.
or
Yep.
tie. Yeah. And really, the double unders are the only thing where I can honestly validate if someone had a bad, like, because I personally have had bad double under days, and then it hits me emotionally while I'm doing it. And then so it's like, okay, it was just a bad day, and I know I can improve maybe massively, but I'm also just making excuses for my addiction. I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. Guys, that was extremely valuable. I know it's a little after our normal time. Thank you for bringing all of your stories and expertise. I think maybe we could do another one of these kind of right before the open, because there's so many spreadsheets some of you said you had, and I know somebody was emailing them out, but thanks for kind of bringing that stuff to the table. I I do understand that the open used to feel and be different. And I'll be honest, I miss it from time to time, right? Like I miss the first time we ever had our first time priority and Castro came out and XYZ. But from what I've seen, going to 3 workouts, I don't want to say they're easier, but it seems like some of the complexity is saved for more of the quarterfinals and then semifinals. I like that for the basic population, because back in 2013, everyone thought they were going to regionals. And it was like a thing. We're like, oh yeah, well, I know a friend, or I have this shirt. My regional shirts, I still can't throw them away because I look at them and I'm gonna tell my kids one day, be like, you know what dad did? And they're gonna not care at all. But I cared, right? Like it was such a weird time where everyone knew everyone's business and scores in the open, et cetera. And of course I missed that, but the community was much, much smaller. I think now when it comes to deadlifts and burpees over the bar, the answer is always, if you think you're fit, go faster. I mean, at the end of the day, um 21:15.9 hurts very, very bad. Even when it's really short. If it didn't hurt, you didn't go fast enough. So just keep that in mind when you're doing these open workouts, and bring that. So if you have any of the intensity, love it. See you guys
Hey, I got
next week.
something.
Go ahead.
I want to get a little bit of credit here because I think I'm logged in from further away than anybody else tonight because I'm in Izmir, Turkey.
What are you doing in Turkey?
It's a work thing.
Oh, I was thought you were gonna say it's a long story. I'm be like, no,
It's a full-time, it's my full-time gig. My machine shop, we make these tube cutting machines, and we sold one to a company here, and we're checking out where it's going to get installed. But I'm just saying, if anybody got Izmir, Turkey beat, I'm just curious.
I highly doubt it. I'll probably have Ohio and maybe a Kentucky or a Tennessee, but other
Okay,
than
that's
that,
it. Sorry.
yeah. Well, thanks for hopping in, Ashley. That's amazing.
Well, it's easy because it's just at 9 o'clock p.m. So,
Oh, and your body doesn't know what time it is.
yeah, I do have no idea. I slept 1 hour in the last 27.
That
so
hurts my brain.
it's all good.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. We'll see you guys later.